Go. Hey guys, how's it going? So I'm here with Coach David Taylor, and today we're going to talk about how to do your measurements. So to do your measurements, guys, then what you're going to look to do is you need first and foremost a measuring tape. So I myself use one of these. You get one of these off of Amazon, and the great thing about one of these tapes is that it's aluminium and you can see it holds its shape. So when I'm taking any of Dave's circumferences here, it's going to be very, very easy for me to do it. And if it slips, then I don't have to worry about that. And I can manipulate the tape very easy. I can take it up and down on the arm, whereas one of these felt tapes, they slip. The other useful tapes that a lot of you will be using are the milo tapes, whereby you can take them out, clip them in, and then sometimes they have a little button, and you can press it so it's nice and tight. Now, me and Dave here, what we're going to do today is we've been doing skin folds. So I've marked them up with my tape, and I've got my Harpendale skin fold calipers because I'm going to pinch them here to try and take some body fat circumferences on here. But before I did all that, I had to mark them with some felt tip pen. So we've got a mark on the shoulder here, we've got a little mark down here, a mark here. If I turn them to the back, you'll see there's a mark there as well. And then at the same time, we've got a mark on his thigh. You want to turn around and face the front, Dave? We roll up the leg, and you can see we've got a little mark on the thigh at the same time. Now, good measurements are all about consistency, guys. So we always want to see, are you losing body fat? Are you improving your body composition? And if we get inconsistencies in the measurements, then it's very difficult to make comparisons from week to week. So common problems are that people will use tape measures and they'll pull tape measures too tight. So they'll get a reduction in inches, and then the next week, those inches will go up again because they'll not pull it as tight, or they'll just simply take the measurements at the same point. So consistency is extremely important. So I'm just going to use Dave here as a model to talk about the different measurements that he's got, and Dave's going to be a good sport, and we're going to go with this. So the first one we're going to do is we're going to do an arm circumference. There's a few ways you can do this. Some people will do a relaxed arm, so they'll just take the tape measure, they'll go around the arm, pull it nice and tight so there's no little gaps in it, and then they'll measure the arm. The other way you can do it is you can do it with a flexed arm. Now, I would actually say that a flexed arm is much easier to take a measurement from because it's simply a case of going around and finding the peak of the bicep at the highest point. And the easy thing to do is to move the tape depending until we've got the point that we've got most peak. So, Dave, how's that looking at you? Am I selling you short, or have we got the full bicep?
Looks good.
Looks good. So we're saying 15.5 inches. Excellent, good job. Now, that's how you do a peaked bicep. If you want to do a relaxed arm, then really what you're looking at is from the shoulder, feeling on the top of the collarbone. As the collarbone slides just down, you make a little mark. You then take from the crease in the elbow. We measure the halfway point, make a little mark here, and then Dave's going to turn it aside. And you can see already, I've made a little mark on his arm here already. I've turned it to the back, Dave. That's the same mark at the midpoint as well around the arm. So I would measure around this area in the bicep. But as I said before, the easiest point to do is flexed bicep. So that's the first one. Next one we're going to do is we're going to talk about the waist, okay? Now, for your waist circumference, we're just looking at the smallest part of the waist. So Dave, if you could be a good sport here and just put your arms up like so. And what we can see in Dave here is he's got a nice crease, comes in at this point here in his waist. If we turn to the back, you see it's even more apparent. So you can see Dave, just drop your arms down a little bit. We can see Dave's smallest point is just here. And that's the point at which we're going to take the tape around and get Dave's waist circumference. So if I pass you this tape here, Dave, you're going to pass me it right around the side. I'm going to come across here. And again, things we've got to watch out for is if the tape slips or goes up and down, then you can take a bit of a crooked measurement. So it's important that when we're doing these things that we make sure we've got the tape at the midpoint of the back where we want it. And we want to account for Dave's breathing because he's going to breathe in and out when he does this. So I'm going to let the tape flex a little bit or move in and out. Okay, that's 30.5. Now, that's the same as we measured earlier on, so we've managed to get consistency. Next one after that we're going to do is hips. And when we talk about hips, what we're talking about is the glutes, guys and girls. We're not talking about actual hip bones, we're talking about the hips. Now the best way to do this one, Dave, is you just turn side on for us. What we're going to look for is the largest part of the glute. Again, easiest way to do this is just eyeball it in a mirror, take your tape around, and if I pass you that again, Dave, round the side, and again, we've got to watch for slippage, and guys, you can see why this aluminium tape's really useful here. So I'm going to go round, and we maybe want to pull it just a fraction tighter to account for Dave's fabric on his clothing. Not much, because we don't want to crease into the skin, but we want to make sure that we've got the appropriate circumference as well. So I'm just going to check down here. Dave, does that look like it's not slipping to you?
That looks good.
Go a little bit higher up. Okay. 36.5. Now guys, a question some of you might have is, what do I do if when I'm doing my waist circumference, I can't see a smallest point? In that situation, what I'd always say to you is, you want to take the midpoint between your pelvis and your bottom rib and take that, or if you find that that's too complicated, just go around the belly button point and just make sure we always use the same point on it, okay? So we can get that consistency. The next measurement we're going to do is the thigh. And this is where I think people have some of the most problems, Dave, doing the actual measurements themselves. So if you turn around to face the camera, Dave, you can see that I've made a little mark on Dave's quadricep there. Now that's actually the halfway point between the insertion up here, the inguinal crest, and down here at Dave's patella tendon here. Now the problem with a thigh measurement is, if we go too high up in the leg, then all we end up getting, if we keep going up and up and up, is you start just getting your hamstring. But we want to get consistency and always get the same measurement. So the way to do this one is, if you want to just grab a seat here, what I'm going to do is make a little mark, the top of Dave's patella. I'm going to take my tape measure, hand that to Dave. He's going to put that in the crease of his pelvis. We measure to the halfway point, so it's 20 inches. We're going to take 10 inches, make a mark, and then Dave stand up. That is then where we're going to measure the thigh. So I'm going to come down here, and we're going to go down the leg, and again we're going to make sure our tape is nice and tight. So, no slippage, looks level to me. Really easy. Okay, 20.5. Now, there's two more measurements. Sometimes we'll ask you to take these ones. It's calf and chest, okay? Now for a calf, easiest way to do this is like the bicep. So, if you could just take your leg, put it up here on the platform for me. And on Dave, what I've done is, I've already marked this because I'm going to do a skin fold measurement. But what I'm looking for is the largest part, in the same way that I look for the largest part when we were doing a bicep. And again, with this one, what I can do is I can just move my tape measure up and down until I find the largest point. So that's 13.3, I think that's too small, Dave, because I measured these earlier on. And there we go, you can see already, that's 13.5. That's 13.75, so I know I need to be a little bit higher up. That's 14, so I need to take the largest point of his calf. So that's how we do our calf circumference. Now the final measurement we want to do is Dave's chest, okay? So, when we measure the chest, we're not only measuring the chest, it's also the back, because Dave's got these great lats in here as well. So we want to go all the way around and get an idea of how thick he is for the torso. And if we turn to the side, you can see it's all of this here and all of this here. Now again, it's a case of finding the largest point. And again, it takes a little bit of trial and error with this one, but we want to adjust the tape. So Dave, if you lift up your arms for us, I'm going to take this round here. Lower your arms for me, Dave. And then I can adjust the tape. Go a little bit higher, please, Dave. And lift that tape a little touch up for me. And a little bit more on the left-hand side. Okay, that's 40 inches, and I think we can go a little bit higher again. There we go. And then turn to face the camera, Dave. So we're looking at this point here, nice and flexed, taking the full circumference of the chest. So Dave's now 41.5. So that's how we do our measurements. Like I said, it's really easy when you've got someone doing it for you. So if you've got a wife, a partner, a husband, a boyfriend, then get them to do it for you. If you're doing them yourself, guys, just make sure the most important thing is, even if you're not going to do those exact points that I've marked out on Dave's body here, that you're always doing them consistently on the same spot. Thanks very much, Dave, for being a good subject and a good model there. Dave's going to get in shape for his latest competition. We can't wait to see what it looks like when he's ripped and in shape for the latest competition coming up. Okay, we're Pro Prep. We're signing out. Peace.